Welcome back to our channel, your premier destination for the most profound and comprehensive analysis of the bold and the beautiful. Today is a magnificent day to delve into the intricate web of glamour, betrayal, and corporate warfare that defines our favorite Los Angeles fashion dynasty. Let us unravel the spectacular drama awaiting us. The atmosphere within the glittering, glass-paneled walls of Forrester Creations has grown suffocatingly tense, transforming the once creative sanctuary into a ruthless corporate battlefield. As the episode airing on Tuesday, May 19th, unfolds, the fragile illusions of loyalty and family harmony are violently shattered, leaving behind a trail of broken ambitions and shifting allegiances. At the very epicenter of this escalating corporate earthquake stands Zen Forrester Dominguez, a man who has finally reached the absolute limits of his professional patience. For months, Zen has operated under the agonizing assumption that his immense talent and tireless dedication to the Hope for the Future line would eventually be recognized and rewarded. He poured his soul, his sweat, and his undeniable creative genius into a collection that he believed would redefine the industry. When Steffy Forrester Finnegan initially announced the pause of the line, Zen clung to the desperate hope that it was merely a temporary setback, a brief intermission in his inevitable rise to the top of the fashion world. However, the harsh, unforgiving light of reality is about to expose the brutal truth of his situation. The agonizing realization that his meticulously crafted designs will never see the runway is a psychological blow of devastating proportions. Zen is forced to confront the sickening fact that his monumental efforts were entirely in vain, discarded by a corporate hierarchy that views him as little more than a highly skilled subordinate rather than a visionary leader. The profound disrespect he feels is only magnified by the omnipresent shadow of R.J. Forrester, the undisputed golden boy of the Forrester dynasty. Watching R.J. effortlessly glide into the upper echelons of the company's couture division, while Zen is repeatedly marginalized, has created a deep, festering well of resentment within his heart. He is a Forrester in name and blood, yet he is treated as a second-class citizen in the very empire his grandfather built. This crushing disappointment triggers a monumental epiphany for Zen, a moment of absolute clarity that will fundamentally alter the trajectory of his career. He realizes, with a chilling certainty, that his future at Forrester Creations is entirely dependent on the whims of a leadership team that does not truly value his worth. The internal conflict raging within him is palpable. On one hand, his fierce pride demands that he burn the bridges of Forrester Creations to the ground, to walk away from the disrespect and forge his own path. The alluring temptation of defecting to Katie Logan, Spencer's newly established fashion house, beckons to him like a beacon in the dark, promising the creative control and ultimate respect he has been so brutally denied. Joining the Logan brand would be the ultimate act of corporate vengeance, a strategic strike against the family that took his loyalty for granted. Yet, in a surprising display of profound maturity and strategic foresight, Zen makes the agonizing decision to swallow his immense pride. He recognizes that an explosive departure right now might damage his own reputation more than it hurts the company. With a heavy heart and a mind calculating its next moves, Zen chooses to play the role of the dutiful team player, calling a temporary, fragile truce with R.J. Forrester. He agrees to collaborate on the couture line, masking his deep-seated resentment behind a veil of professional courtesy. But make no mistake, this is not a surrender. It is a tactical retreat. Zen is merely biding his time, carefully evaluating his options, and preparing for the day when he will finally step out of the shadows and claim the throne he rightfully deserves, whether that throne resides within the walls of Forrester Creations or across enemy lines of the Logan Empire. While Zen grapples with his professional awakening, a far more explosive emotional detonation is occurring between Hope Logan Spencer and her mother, Brooke Logan Forrester. Hope has been existing in a state of agonizing suspense, her entire career and personal identity hanging precariously on the outcome of Brooke's audacious hostile takeover attempt. Hope had strategically pushed her mother to ruthlessly pursue the co-CEO position, entirely convinced that Brooke's ascension to power was the only possible salvation for the suspended hope for the future line. In Hope's desperate mind, Brooke's victory would be the ultimate vindication, a triumphant overthrow of Steffy's tyrannical rule that would restore Hope to her rightful place as the crown jewel of the company's youthful demographic. The anticipation has been eating Hope alive, fueling her righteous indignation and blinding her to the harsh political realities of the Forrester empire. When Brooke finally summons her daughter, Hope arrives with a heart full of desperate optimism, fully expecting to hear the glorious news of Steffy's defeat. Instead, Brooke delivers a soul-crushing revelation that strikes Hope with the force of a physical blow. Ridge Forrester, the man Brooke loves and the ultimate arbiter of power within the company, has decisively chosen to stand by his daughter. Steffy will remain firmly entrenched in the co-CEO chair, her authority absolute and her dominance over Hope entirely unbroken. The news is a devastating catastrophe for Hope, completely obliterating her dreams of an immediate corporate resurrection and leaving her stranded in a wasteland of professional uncertainty. The sheer magnitude of this defeat is horrifying enough for Hope, but is the subsequent behavior of her mother that truly shatters her worldview. In the aftermath of her failed corporate coup, Brooke executes a strategic pivot so shocking and hypocritical that it leaves Hope breathless with indignation. Rather than standing in fierce solidarity with her devastated daughter, Brooke immediately shifts into damage control mode to protect her own standing with Ridge. Having just shared an intimate night with her husband, Brooke completely abandons the righteous crusade she had championed only hours before. In a stunning display of political maneuvering, Brooke sends a highly diplomatic, almost subservient text message to Steffy, explicitly praising her leadership and declaring that no one is more deserving of the co-CEO title than Steffy herself. To Hope, this jarring reversal is an act of profound, unforgivable betrayal. She watches in absolute horror as the mother who was supposed to be her ultimate corporate sword and shield meekly capitulates to the very woman who has systematically dismantled Hope's career. The realization crashes over Hope like a tidal wave. Brooke utilized Hope's genuine professional anguish as a convenient catalyst to launch her own self-serving power grab. The moment that power grab failed and threatened her romantic security with Ridge, Brooke discarded the crusade and left Hope completely exposed to Steffy's inevitable wrath. This sickening realization forces Hope to confront the deeply toxic, manipulative undercurrents of her relationship with her mother, a dynamic where Hope's pain is frequently weaponized for Brooke's political or romantic gain. The profound toxicity of this mother-daughter relationship does not go unnoticed by the returning Taylor Hayes. The renowned psychiatrist steps back onto the Los Angeles canvas with a razor-sharp, highly analytical perspective on the unfolding chaos. Taylor is immediately briefed by a triumphant Steffy on the entire ordeal of Brooke's hostile takeover attempt. Steffy recounts the audacity of the Logan women, placing the lion's share of the blame squarely on Hope's shoulders for manipulating Brooke into launching the attack. Taylor listens with the trained ear of a professional and the fiercely protective heart of a mother, her disdain for Brooke's endless machinations flaring back to life. Yet, when Steffy reveals the diplomatic text message Brooke sent in surrender, Taylor cannot help but offer a begrudging modicum of respect for Brooke's sheer political survival skills. It is a classic Brooke-Logan maneuver: strike hard, and when defeated, instantly play the role of the gracious peacemaker to ensure her own survival. However, as Taylor analyzes the intricate layers of this corporate and familial warfare, she experiences a surprising, unexpected emotion regarding Hope Logan: profound pity. Taylor looks past the entitlement and the corporate tantrums, seeing instead a young woman who is the tragic product of a deeply dysfunctional environment. Taylor recognizes the generational curse of the Logan women, the cyclical nature of their manipulative tactics, and the emotional damage it inflicts. She sees how Brooke's conditional support and self-serving pivots have fundamentally warped Hope's understanding of loyalty and professional integrity. While Taylor remains fiercely protective of Steffy and fully acknowledges Hope's own toxic traits and profound self-absorption, she cannot ignore the tragic reality that Hope is, in many ways, a victim of her mother's chaotic emotional whirlwind. As the dust settles on this catastrophic day at Forrester Creations, the landscape of the company is forever changed. Steffy stands victorious, her power solidified by her father's unwavering support, yet she remains acutely aware of the constant threat the Logans pose to her empire. Zend quietly retreats into the shadows, his pride swallowed, but his ambition burning hotter than ever as he contemplates a revolutionary defection. Taylor watches from the sidelines, a silent guardian ready to dissect the psychological warfare that is sure to follow. And at the center of the wreckage stands Hope Logan Spencer, utterly isolated and stripped of her illusions. Betrayed by her mother and defeated by her rival, Hope now faces the most agonizing, defining choice of her entire life. The walls of Forrester Creations have never felt more like a prison. Will she surrender to the humiliation and remain under Steffy's thumb? Or will she finally break the chains of her mother's legacy, defect to the Logan brand, and ignite a corporate war that will burn Los Angeles to the ground? The dramatic tension has reached an absolute boiling point, and the fallout from these shattering revelations will echo through the halls